Photoshop for Beginners Masterclass. Lesson 3. If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe. And if you are old here, thanks so much for clicking this video. In today's video, we are going to learn how to create this flyer. Let's dive in. So the first thing we are going to do is to open our Photoshop. And I'm going to create a new document. So I'll go to File, I'll select New, and then I'll choose the layer I want to work with. So I want to work with an A5. So I'll go to Print. Photoshop has already created some presets for us that I can use. So I'll select my A5 and my resolution. I'll make it 100, and then I'll leave the rest and I'll click on Create. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to unlock my background. So I'll press here for my layer panel and I'll unlock my background. So I'm first going to drag my image onto my canvas, but then I'm going to leave a link to my resource. The resource I'm going to use for this tutorial, I'm going to leave the link in my description. So you can go to my description and you follow the link. It will take you to my Google Drive and you can download, have all the resources. Okay, so my files are in my documents. Okay, so I'm going to drag one image. So I use this image for this tutorial. So I drag this image onto my canvas. I'll wait for it to load. So I'll hit on my enter and I'll drag my image to the top. So I'm going to draw all the shapes in this flyer. So I'll select my rectangular 2. I'll draw the first one from the top. So I'm first going to take out my stroke. I don't want stroke. And the color, I want it in the blues. Let me change it. Okay, so I hit enter and I'll draw my first shape at the top here. Alright, so I'll press V on my keyboard and I'll drag it to the top. So I'll duplicate it. So I can press Ctrl J to duplicate, J for Jack. And I drag this one below. And then I also drag this to the middle. So I'm pressing my Alt and I right click and I drag. So it will help me copy and I drag at the same time. And then I adjust it. Alright. So if you are seeing this video, this is lesson 3 of our masterclass. I've made some tutorials already. I have my lesson 1, I have the lesson 2. And this is lesson 3. So if you are seeing lesson 3 video now, please kindly go back to my lesson 1 and my lesson 2 so that you don't get confused. So I'm first going to write my text. Okay, so I'll select my text. So let me select this rectangle so that I make the arrangement properly. So I'm going to write my Finalizing Institute. So Finalizing Institute is a school in Koforidua in Ghana here. And they teach English and French. So if you want any school, you want to travel and you want to write IELTS examination, you can register with Finalizing. So their numbers are on the flyer. So if you need them, you can call any of their numbers. Alright, so Finalizing Institute. And then I press V on my keyboard, I drag it, and then I duplicate it. So I'm going to duplicate. So Ctrl J to duplicate. I drag it down, and I'm going to use my rulers to straighten it. So I'll drag my ruler, I'll put it here. Okay. And then let me write my English. So Ctrl A to select all, and I write my English. English and IELTS. Alright, so I'll still press Ctrl J to duplicate. Now I'll drag it down to write from professionals. And I'll also drag down again to write my open for registration. And I'll add my exclamation. And then I want to change it to small letters, so I'll change it here for my type option. And the size, I'm using Poppin font, and I want it medium, the type medium, and the font size, I'll decrease it a bit. All right, let me increase the fill font. From professionals, let me decrease it a bit. So let me draw my circles so that I'll be able to position my text there well. So I'll go to my shapes where I can find my shapes. I'll look for ellipse, my ellipse tool, and I'll draw my first circle. Okay, so I'm pressing my shift so that I could get the shape of the circle. All right, this is okay. So I'll leave it and I'll press Ctrl J to duplicate. So for my layer, I'm going to select the second circle. I'll press V on my keyboard to select the move tool, and then I'll expand the second circle, the circle below. So I'll press Alt, I'll left click, and then I'll increase it a bit. I hit on Enter and I change the color. I'll go to fill, change the color to white, and then I think it's too big. So let me still decrease it. All right, so this is okay. So I'm going to select the two circles and I'm going to group them. And then I name the first circle, circle 1. I hit on Enter. I drag it down to position it well. After that, I press on Ctrl J to duplicate. I press Ctrl T to transform. And I drag it to the second part. All right, so I change the name to circle 2. Circle 2. So what I did was I double click, okay, and I typed in. So the circle 1, let me push it down. Okay, so let me duplicate my circle 2, Ctrl J, let me rename it to circle 3, and then let me press Ctrl T to transform. Let me drag it down. All right, so I hit on Enter. So I want to arrange it well. I want the second circle to be behind all of them. Okay, so I think this is good. And then my rectangle here is too much, so I'm going to bring it, I'm going to decrease it here. All right, and then now I can position my text very well. So my English and my IELTS, let me position it well. Let me increase the size a bit. This is good. I hit on Enter. I still pull it down. From professionals to, let me change the font to semi-bold, the type to semi-bold, and let me increase. And then let me draw a small rectangle here, a small one. This is good. Okay, let me change the color. The color I'm using. So I'm picking a color from my canvas. I hit on Enter, and then I come here. So if I look, if you see So the edges, I want to make it, let me write in 30. I want to make it round, so I won't get 30. So I got 2.5. And I hit on vein to select my move tool. And I drag my registration up a bit. Okay, so I think this is good. So let me drag it down. All right. And let me change the color from professionals and for registration. Let me change it to white. And then let me write register now. So I'll double click. I'll select register now. So register now. And then I'm going to draw my rectangle behind it. So I'll press on my rectangle. And then I draw it behind it. And this is good. So I can't see my rectangle. So for my layer panel, I'll drag it below the register now. And it's seen. And then here, let me still put it to circle the edges. And I got 17.5. I select V on my keyboard to select the move tool, and then I change the color from yellow to white, and then I position it well. Then I drag my register now below so I can write my contacts. I change the color. Okay, it's in white already. So let me change the color of my background, and to do that, I'll select my layer. I'll go to FX. I'll look for color overlay, and then I'll change my color to yellow. Alright, so this is not a proper yellow, but for designers, we normally talk with our color code. So I hit on enter, and let me take this opportunity to take you through the blending options here. Okay, we have the gradient. So gradient, basically, gradient is adding 2 or more colors. All right. So when I select on my gradients, okay, when I select the gradient, you see in my gradient, this color is 2 colors. Okay, so I can click inside my circle and I can play around with this. So I can change the color to any color. So this color, there are 2 colors here, of which I can just double click. I can double click or click once and come here to select the color. Okay, when I'm done, I hit on enter, and already Photoshop has made some presets here that you can use. So when you select to expand under the basic, you see 3 colors. When you come to the blues, there are some custom blues that you can use. When you come to purples, there are some custom purples that you can use. Inside the purples, we have pinks also. You can also play around them. So when you select, then it comes. You can adjust it. If you want it that way, you can go with it. When it comes to the reds, same. So the same thing below. All right. So when you are done and you are okay with it, you press on OK. And also, if you look at the style here, we have reflected. So when you check here, we have the linear. So this is how the linear works. We have the linear, we have the radical, you see, and we have the angles, we have reflected, and we have the diamonds. So you can play with this and you see the difference between them. All right, and with the scale, you can always leave the scale at 100, or you can still adjust it to your preference. And with the angles here, you can adjust the angles. So it changes, so as the name angles, so it changes the directions and how you want it. You can make it that way. So the next thing I'll talk about under our blending options is our pattern. So pattern overlay. And if I want to see the pattern overlay, I'll have to uncheck my gradient overlay. And when I uncheck it, there are some preset patterns that Photoshop has made available. So when I click on grass, I can come and I can adjust the scale. Okay, so as I increase, it becomes more bigger. As I decrease, it becomes more smaller. So depending on how I want it to look, and I go with it. With the outer glow, it creates a glow, but we can't see it here because I'm applying the blending options to the layer. Okay, it's an outer glow, so it has to be seen at the edges, but we can't see it here. So when you apply it to a rectangle or any other thing, you can play around this and you know the similarities. And we have the drop shadow. For the drop shadow too, we can't see it here because I'm working. So let me choose my rectangle and let me do this demonstration. But first, let me change my color overlay to back to the yellow. So this is the yellow I want to work with. So I'll hit on OK. And let me do the demonstration with this triangle, okay? With the shadows and some other. So when I come to my FX, I can click on my drop shadow. And then I can play with my shadow, okay? So if, as you can see, you can see there's a shadow drop here. There's a shadow drop, so I can play around. And I can position it wherever I want. And you see this shadow is nice. All right, I can also change the distance here. Okay, this is the distance. And I can play with the spread. Okay, this is a spread. I can play with the size as well. I can decrease the opacity to make it more realistic. You see, now it looks very realistic. And when I'm done, I can hit on enter to apply. And we have stroke also here. Stroke. Okay, I can increase the opacity. It's in black. I have my distance here. So however I want it, I can adjust, I can play. So play with this and you will appreciate it. So let me cancel and let me continue. So I'll write my contacts here and you see, Fairford accept international students. Okay, so as a designer, as you are creating flyers for people, you need to consider all these things. Your clients may not tell you, but as a designer, you need to know some of these basic things. Because if I make my number just 059, I continue, how would someone knows that this is a Ghana number or not? But when I put my plus 233, then when someone sees it, you know this is a Ghana number. All right, so let me continue. 0598484. I have 53370. So you can pick any of these numbers if you want to talk to Fairford Institute about your examination, your French, your English, your IELTS, your TOEFL, and the likes. They also have computer training classes. They also do computer training. You can register with them as well. So 341, so that is 19, 60, and 9. All right, so I'll check my box here, and my font is 16, so I can make the space in between. I can make it 18 and I'm good. All right. And then let me add why choose as. Okay, let me add it to it. And let me duplicate. Let me duplicate here. And let me add why choose as. So I have the text here. I'm just going to copy and paste it so we don't waste much time there. All right, so let me duplicate below. Let me drag it to this side so that I can bullet it well. All right, so why choose as? Let me just copy and paste it. Okay, so I'll double click inside my text and I'll press Ctrl V to paste. When I'm done, let me adjust it. So let me take out. So there were some bulletin. So let me take them out. Photoshop does not recognize it. All right, so I hit on enter and I'll have to adjust the text. So let me adjust it. I hit on enter and they are too small. They are too small. All right, so let me drag it to the other side. Let me select why choose as. Let me drag it to the other side. I think this is good. Let me increase the size. All right, let me hit enter. Let me bring the environments down. And I think this is okay. Let me press V to select my move tool, and then the space is small. Okay. All right, this is good. So let me bullet. I'll go to my shapes. I'll select ellipse, and I'll draw my small circle. I'll hit on V to select the move tool, and I'll zoom so that I can just duplicate it. So let me bring my rulers here so I can straighten it up and I can position it well. All right, so I'm pressing on my Alt, I left click and I drag it down. So I'm going to do the same thing for all. Someone asked whether there is a shortcut to do this. Please, there is the only shortcut. Maybe in the future, Photoshop will consider that. Okay, I think that is all. All right, there we go. So let me add our social media to it. So let me drag this below. And let me write Phil Ford. So if you have any question you want to ask Phil Ford, feel free. You can text them on WhatsApp. You can text them. You can pick their numbers as well. Institute. Okay. Let me add the location to it. So location, I'll just make it Koforidua. Koforidua. Today my tree is not coming. Koforidua. Okay. All right, so if you don't have the social media handles, okay, you can go to PNG Tree, PNG Egg. So visit PNG Egg website and you can download social media icons. So let me drag this. Okay, I need Facebook and Instagram. So let me drag Facebook below and let me adjust. So the next one, Instagram, the same way. I'm going to adjust them. All right, so our group, so that I can apply the colors to all. So FX, I'll go to my color overlay and okay, already yellow. I hit on enter, I drag it here. So with my location icon, all right, I have some here, okay, under my custom shapes. I have some here under my custom shapes. Or you can still just let me go to my file explorer. I have some here. Let me just go by that procedure. Let me pick a location and I just drag it below. All right, so I want to apply the color. So I'll just add it to the group, okay? and automatically the color changes. So I'm going to add my images to my circle. So I'll go to File Explorer and I'll add my first image. So I want this lady. So I'll bring her and I'll press on Enter. And look at this. Look at this. You right click and look for Create Clipping Mask. This is Create Clipping Mask. You click on it and it goes inside the circle and you adjust it. So you adjust it how you want it. Alright, and when you are done, if you don't want the position, you can left click, you flip horizontal or vertical. Alright, but then I like the position. So I hit on Enter. I'll do the same thing for the next one. I'll go to my File Explorer. I will pick this image. No, I want this. I'll drag to my Photoshop. I hit on Enter. I right click. I look for Create Clipping Mask. It goes inside and I adjust it. Okay. All right. I love the way the guy is smiling. So I'll do the same thing for the next image. So I want this image. I'll hit on Enter. All right, click, Create Clipping Mask. It goes inside and I adjust as I'm doing. All right, but then I don't like how the image is facing and it also counts. So I'll right click, I'll flip horizontal and I'm good. I hit on Enter and then you can see the flyer had some aeroplane here and I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave the link in the description. I'll leave a link to my resource in the description and you can. Right, so I have it here. Okay, so I am good. I think we are done. So it's left with the website at the top here, and it's www.feelfordinstitute. So I will double click. Let me make this well. It's not nice. Okay, let me adjust it. So I'll duplicate and then I'll decrease the font to, I think, no, 16 is too much, 14. I'll uncheck so that I can write it in small letters and I'll type www.feelforward. institutes.com. I think even my 14 is too much. So I'll make it, let me just adjust it from here. I'll hit on Enter. I'll change the color to white. There we go. Note the type. Let me make it medium. And there we go. Let me adjust this place, the text here. Okay. And let me add the text to it. Let me drag it down a bit. All right. Let me adjust. Let me change this to white. Okay. And there we go. So we are done. I hope you were following. So let me know in the comment section if you were able to achieve this. Comment below. Let me know. If this video was helpful, kindly subscribe to my channel, like and share to others to benefit them as well. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Maybe we are going to learn how to create a church flyer or a birthday flyer of that sort. Alright, so see you in my next video. Bye bye.